All right, so we have some actual news to talk about, real things that happened in the NFL world. It's been a minute. Not huge, like breaking news, but still something that I find interesting. So the Kansas City Chiefs franchise tagged Orlando Brown Jr. This itself makes some sense. I mean, he's going to be getting about $16.5 million next year, which obviously that's not cheap, but it's cheaper than if they gave him a long-term deal in terms of, annual contract. And who knows if their numbers aligned with Brown's numbers, so you're getting an extra year to work out a deal. But there are some ramifications that are going to happen with Kansas City in terms of how to fill out the rest of this roster. The biggest one, of course, is since you franchise tagged Orlando Brown Jr., this means that you cannot franchise tag Tyrann Mathieu. You can only tag one guy. So I don't think that's the wrong decision necessarily. I think it makes sense given how you traded a first round pick for Brown, and he's obviously a really good tackle for you. So making sure you keep him on the roster, I think that makes sense. But now Mathieu is going to be a free agent. Do you let him walk here? You're also running a little bit low on cap space now. According to Over the Cap, they're currently $5 million over the cap, so you can make that work with nothing. You can easily find a way to clear out $5 million. That's easy. No one's going to have an issue doing that. But again, there's ramifications because ownerships aren't going to be willing to spend $100 million over the cap, right? At a certain point, they're going to say, okay, that's a line. We're not willing to spend any more money. So there still is a number of how much money owners are willing to pay for players. That happens with every team. And so spending the money on Brown means that you can't spend the money elsewhere. They still have guys they have to sign, like, just players, whether you think that they're huge impact players or just role players like Jaron Reed, Melvin Ingram, Tre'Davious Ward, Andrew Wiley, Derek Nottie, Mike Hughes. These are all players that had a somewhat significant role for them. And even again, lesser guys, Mike Remmers, Daniel Sorensen, Byron Pringle, Chad Henne, Darrell Williams. These are guys who, you're going to have to replace them. You might not necessarily care too much if any of them go, but if you let them go, there is going to have to be a replacement for them who, they're not going to work for free. So it's the right move for Orlando Brown Jr., but just kind of interesting to see the snowball effect and where do the Kansas City Chiefs go from here. They have some bad contracts. Everyone's going to point to the Mahomes contract. I think that the Frank Clark's contract, that's just brutal. That's the real contract that people should be pointing to, because without that, they don't have any of these issues. And also, the Kansas City Chiefs aren't a perfect roster. They kind of have some holes they have to fill on top of this. But the flip side is, you got Patrick Mahomes. I'm not counting you out. That. It's that simple. So, interesting stuff. What do you guys think about this move? Do you agree with everything I said? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments below. Just a quick video, because, hey, we finally have some news, something to talk about. So, I wanted to make a video talking about it. That's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.